boy, hey girl, superstar DJs, here we go with another episode of Is It? That's a good one.
Well, after doing all the editing, I've realised I need that note a bit longer.
That's what you learn.
That's what you learn as you go along.
Excellent stuff. So here we are, back once again.
We are.
Yes. What are we looking at today, Sean?
Today, Dan, we are looking at another plugin from Pulsar. Not Pulsar Modular.
No.
Pulsar, the original.
Okay.
It's the Pulsar Primavera. Don't really know how to pronounce that. But it's a Sprung Reverb.
Oh, useful.
Yeah, well, they're sort of back in fashion a bit at the moment.
Are they?
Yeah, people have started using Sprung Reverbs on guitars and that a bit. I've heard quite a lot of vocals with Sprung Reverbs on recently.
They were always the things when you were playing gigs or with your Marshall valve state, with a little box on the back, and when your amp fell over it,
when the amp fell over, it made that horrible noise. Yeah.
That's what I really remember about.
Well, my main memories of Sprung Reverbs are that digital reverbs were sort of new when I started, and if you couldn't afford one, you had to get a Sprung, and you were just always a bit disappointed that it made lots of boingy sounds rather than sounded like you were in a room. But still, they are quite cool.
Yeah. So why don't we, for the viewing several, the younger members of our viewing several, explain exactly what
Explain.
Yeah.
Explain what a Sprung
Why don't you
reverb
explain what a
Sprung reverb is?
A Spling reverb is?
It's basically a metal box with some springs in it, and you put the audio into the spring at one end and it picks up from the other end, and for reasons only known to physicists probably, it sounds a little bit like reverb using the springs. And yes, you did get that effect. If you moved whatever was holding the springs, it would make boinging noises. But yeah, there was some very sort of famous ones. I had one in the studio I used to work at called Great British Spring, which was a massive grey drain pipe is what it looked like, with an XLR in and XLR out. You fed your audio into it, you got some really nice reverb.
You could probably make one yourself.
You absolutely can. If you go to Present Day Productions YouTube channel, there is a video from a couple of years ago where they showed you how to make one, and it was like 20 quid.
There you go.
They're very cheap to
a
make.
Shit reverb for 20 quid.
There you go. Or get a plug-in.
So, take us through the Pulsar Primavera.
Okie dokie. So, as you can see, it looks like a very cool vintage piece of kit. It's got 6 models. So, the 6 switches along the bottom, 6 buttons. They switch between the different ones. And you've got some of the famous things. So, you've got the GBS, which is the Great British Spring I was talking about, the one that looked like a drain pipe. It can also do an approximation of the RE201, which is the space sort of echo, really, the delay thing, but this does sound like that too. It's got some of their own. They're all quite different, all equally useful though. And then you've got the settings that you wouldn't always get. Well, you wouldn't get on a Sprung reverb, really. It was in and out, and you've set more or less to it.
Length of spring.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck with whatever it is. Whereas this lets you change the pre-delay. Coil. I don't like the way you said that. I'm creeped out. So you can change the pre-delay, the tension on the spring, how much decay, excitation. That's a word that sounds like Dan Peters might like it. And then width, so you can add some stereo width with that, which is nice. So they give you quite a lot of flexibility to change the parameters and the sounds of the reverb. But there's sort of like a secret weapon in this, which is the preamp. The preamp is awesome.
Is it?
I mean, you could turn all the reverb off and just use this as a saturation box. I really like the preamp. It's got 2 different modes, so it can work in tube mode or germanium mode, which is transistor, but a very cool transistor. And yeah, you can really sort of give it some, and it sounds awesome. So if you combine that with a bit of Sprung reverb, and then you've got a mix control on the output, you can get some really nice sounds. It's also got a ducking control.
Okay.
Which is basically doing exactly what it says. It is ducking the reverb.
Okay, so when the instrument's playing, the reverb ducks.
Yeah, you can basically set it so that you get that rhythmic effect of the reverb sort of ducking out.
So it's obviously a bit of a vintage thing, isn't it? The idea is that you'd have a twangy Stratocaster or something sort of playing through it.
Guitars sound brilliant through it.
Yeah.
Drums to a certain extent, if you're careful, don't go too boingy, but yes, you can get some good sounds. But vocals, surprisingly, it's a nice sound for vocals. There's an interesting little thing they've added to it. I don't know what you'd use it for. It's more of a laugh. But if you get the mouse and twang the springs on the top, it makes the bongy noise.
Does it?
Yeah, which is quite cool. I literally went, oh, I wonder if that does anything. And it does.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's a really nice Spring reverb. There's a few of them out at the moment, and this is the nicest one I've played with.
You know, because this lo-fi music is a bit of a... I say it's a bit of a thing at the moment. It's been a bit of a thing for a long time.
Been a thing, yeah.
And I've been thinking about making some of it because it feels like it'd be really easy, but never have. But this sort of feeds into that. I'm guessing. That sort of
seems
genre.
like your kind of music. You're quite lo-fi.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Well, you're quite low.
Yeah.
Just got to add a bit of fi in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that. Anyway.
Yeah. So, anything further to add?
Well, there's a 14-day demo.
Cool.
Which is...
So you can go and twang your strings for 14 days?
Yeah. I'd go and have a play with it. I think it's an interesting thing. You will know instantly whether you're going to be able to use it or not.
It looks very cool.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's nice.
Looks very cool. Okay, so the Pulsar Primavera, Sean, is it shit?
Do you want to know how much it is first?
Well, yes, now you've asked.
Now I've asked. Normally €99.
Yeah.
Which is a bit steep, I think.
Yeah.
For something you might use it a lot, but I don't think so. But in the sale right now, it's €59.
Thing is, I mean, you don't see Spring reverbs as part of reverb, multi-effects units, do you? Generally,
not often.
You get plates and chambers and rooms and halls and all of this.
It's
kind of stuff.
It's a very different sound. Yeah.
€59.
€59 in the sale. Yeah,
very specific.
That is quite specific. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I ask now?
You can ask now.
Is the Pulsar Primavera shit?
No, I don't think it's shit. I've been looking at Spring reverbs. I actually am in the market to buy one at the moment.
Why?
Because of certain projects I'm working on. I'd quite like to use a Spring reverb on it. And there's one other which we will get around to reviewing soon. But this one at the moment is definitely right up there.
Okay. So
no, I don't think it's
the Pulsar Primavera.
Yeah.
Not shit.
Not shit.
Springy.
Please,
people, don't forget to like the video.
And also remember, if you subscribe to the channel, that really helps.
You become a member of the channel now?
You can become a member of the channel, which means you can watch the videos the second we upload them rather than waiting for when they come out.
Lucky you.
There might be some extra benefits at some point once we work out how to use all that.
There's also a Patreon, an Instagram, merch store and all of that sort of stuff, which will be in the links down below.
Yes.
So until next time, sayonara.
Adios.